Welcome to the SVG-TV Evening News for October 28th. I am Khalil Kato with the details. As SVG celebrated 41 years of independence, Vincentians should be thankful that the country remains a relatively stable and peaceful nation despite the many global challenges. So says the Governor General, Her Excellency Dame Susan Duggan, in her independence message to the nation.
Acknowledge with appreciation the many contributions made by Vincentians from all walks of life to the nation's development. It is this commitment, together with the resilience of these patriots, which allows us to achieve excellence at home and abroad, including making our mark on the world stage at international organizations such as the United Nations, and to persevere amidst adversity and hardships. It is also necessary to highlight the excellent performance of our students at the regional CSEC examinations, particularly at this time, considering the difficulties with which they were presented as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Noting that the entire world is experiencing a period of uncertainty, which may be the new normal, the Governor General said this will require some changes to the way persons go about their lives.
In these extraordinary times, our hearts go out to those who have lost loved ones, and where possible, let us extend a helping hand to those less fortunate citizens who may be in need of help. As if COVID-19 is not enough, we are now confronted with the threat of dengue, a mosquito-borne disease. I urge all citizens to heed the advice of the health officials and do all within their power to limit the possibility of mosquitoes breeding around their properties. Let us all show that we are responsible citizens who are not just interested in our own welfare, but that we are looking out for the welfare of our neighbors as well.
Speaking on the upcoming general elections, Her Excellency said it is important that Vincentians go through the exercise with the utmost respect for one another.
It is yet too early to know exactly how drastic those changes will be. We have to be prepared to start rethinking our modus operandi and find new ways of coping with the new challenges. Each of us has to make a personal commitment to be part of a united people to face the future. We must grasp every opportunity presented, be responsive to every stimulus provided, and be creative in order to find our niche in the global scheme of things.
In his address to the nation, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves announced several initiatives and benefits for various sectors in SVG to take effect from January 2021. In his address at the 41st Independence Anniversary Parade at the Victoria Park yesterday, the Prime Minister said there will be increases in benefits for persons on public assistance, and those who were placed under a COVID-19 window will transfer to the Public Assistance Register as of January 1st, 2021.
Fourth, persons on public assistance will receive an increase in their monthly payments by $25 from January the 1st, 2021. Thus, those under 65 years who currently receive $250 monthly will receive $275. And those 65 years and over will have their public assistance rise from $275 to $300 monthly. This is in keeping with our government's policy to strengthen the social safety net for the poor and the elderly.
As it relates to appointments, the Prime Minister said that more than 100 university graduates will be appointed, and temporary workers with the requisite qualifications for the public service will be appointed permanently come next year. Further, pension adjustments will be made for nursing assistants who retired before October 27, 2015. Casual, temporary, or part-time non-unionized employees will receive an increase of 25%, and university students with loans will be given a one-year waiver and reduced interest.
University students and former university students who have since graduated but have loans under the economically disadvantaged student loans program of the Student Loans Company are being granted a complete waiver of interest payment for 1 year from October the 1st, 2020 to August the 31st, 2021. Actually, it has started already. This will cost the government in excess of $2 million. Thereafter, for the academic year 2021 to 2022 onwards, the interest on all the economically disadvantaged student loans, existing loans, loans with interest arrears, and new loans will be reduced from 8.5% annually to 6% in accordance with the amended sustainable metrics from the National Insurance Services regarding the investment of the NIS funds on this portfolio.
The Prime Minister also announced that more than 1,000 CAPE and CPEA students would receive the $500 payment. Students will begin to receive 3,000 tablets, which are currently in stock from tomorrow, and another 15,000, which arrived today, will be given out from Monday, November 2nd.
Students at the community college, all students at secondary school, all students in the CPEA class in the primary school will receive, each of them for their own use, a gift of an 8-inch Samsung device, the tablet, to assist them in their learning. The teachers will also get. We have also ordered a more generic 8-inch device, tablet, for grade 5 in the primary school downwards. Those would be delivered as they arrive at a later date.
58 national scholarships, bursaries, and exhibitions will be awarded, and the Prime Minister announced 3 sporting ambassadors and 4 cultural ambassadors.
Additionally, 3 more sports ambassadors are to be appointed with immediate effect. Sunil Ambris and Keswick Williams, our West Indies Test cricketers, and Peggy Ince-Hull, a former stalwart of netball of our national and West Indies teams. Appointed with immediate effect too are 3 more cultural ambassadors. 3 young men, 3 of them, 4 more, cultural ambassadors. 3 young men who, in the midst of COVID, gave us this song, Keep the Faith. Rodney Small, Darren Andrews, and Hans John. Additionally, our Vincentian musician, an icon who lives in Montreal, Julian McIntosh, is also appointed with immediate effect.
This year, the police and the cadet corps were the only uniformed organizations on parade. Leader of the New Democratic Party, Dr. Godwin Friday, in his Independence Day message, said it's a time to reflect on the journey as a nation and a people, and to recognize and appreciate the contributions of everyone in nation building. He thanked public servants for their work, noting that despite the many challenges faced, they continue to do their best in the service of the country and for all Vincentians.
You public servants, I say, we are grateful for your efforts and indeed sacrifices that you make to keep our country running day after day. I know that many times it is not easy. Therefore, we celebrate your commitment and hard work and urge you to continue to give of your best. I am aware of your concerns for graduates in the service and for pensioners, and will address them.
Noting that the 41st anniversary of independence celebrations come at a time of unique challenges, Dr. Friday said Vincentians need to come together more than ever to address these challenges, which include the COVID-19 pandemic, dengue fever, poor health care, a global economic downturn, and a high unemployment rate, especially among the youth.
We'll provide help. We will provide hope for our young people, both in providing affordable loans so that they can continue their education and greater opportunities for them to study and develop themselves. There is the fear of them losing hope and sinking into desperation. It is palpable. It is real. We can see the needs on the faces of young people, and you can hear the worry and the concern in the voices of their parents and grandparents. We need to get St. Vincent and the Grenadines working. This is a top priority for my team and me, and we will not fail you. We will work to deliver new jobs for the people of this country, jobs that will secure a better standard of living for everyone. We will make our country work.
Stressing the point that the wealth of the nation depends on the health of the people, the NDP leader said Vincentians deserve proper health care, which the ULP administration has failed to deliver during the last 20 years.
Government that fails to provide quality health care to its people is one that has lost the moral right to rule. Moreover, the way that this government has handled the dengue fever outbreak is further evidence that they are unfit to look after the healthcare needs of our people. We deserve better. We deserve a healthcare system that delivers quality care to everyone and ensures access, not just in the central locations, but in the rural areas as well, everywhere throughout our blessed country. Every person has the right to quality and affordable health care. This is a priority for an NDP administration. We will work hard to improve the healthcare services in this country because you, our people, our most precious resource.
Students, teachers, and parents, along with the elderly of Spring Village, came together to observe this country's 41st independence anniversary last Thursday as the older generation sought to bridge the generation gap. Guidance counselor of the Spring Village Methodist School, Katisha DeBeek Davis, told SVG-TV News that it helps when the elderly can pass on valuable information to students, especially on an occasion such as independence.
Okay, some of the talents we have in the village, the young children and the older people. So we are doing a merger of both generations really and using ideas from the old as well as the young. Students definitely they need to make a connection with the elderly folks because sometimes there's a bridge. We don't have them relating as well as they are to with like the elders in the community, and some of them perhaps see there's no connection. There's no relationship except perhaps in the home, so we want them to recognize that these older people did contribute to our community, so we have to, meet them where they are, show a little bit more respect and concern for them.
Songs, dances, and fashion were among the activities featured during the day's program, and senior citizens were recognized for their contribution to the community. Here are some snippets of the celebrations.
Even to how I do.
Roasted fruit and fried jack fish. And now we have the Amazonia girl dinghy. Here comes the Amazonia girl dinghy.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Monday recorded a new COVID-19 case. Confirmation of the result was received from the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA. The COVID-19 task force said in a release that the new case is a traveler who arrived from Italy via France and Martinique before arriving on Friday, October 23rd, with a negative PCR test result. The adult tested positive on entry screening and will remain in isolation until cleared with 2 negative PCR results. The task force said all passengers who arrived on American Airlines Flight 945 from Miami on Saturday, October 24th, tested negative for COVID-19 on arrival and will remain in mandatory quarantine for 5 days in a Tourism Authority Ministry of Health approved hotel. St. Vincent and the Grenadines has now recorded a total of 74 COVID-19 cases, 66 of which have recovered. There are now 8 active cases, all imported from countries categorized as high risk. The Health Services Subcommittee of the National Emergency Committee Coronavirus Task Force on Sunday implemented a new protocol for the entry of travelers to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This interim Phase 5 protocol went into effect on Sunday and will hold to November 10th. It is aimed at addressing the increased risk of the introduction of new cases of COVID-19 into St. Vincent and the Grenadines because of the escalation in new cases in North America, Europe, and the Caribbean region. The subcommittee said this external escalation of new cases, coupled with the in-country election campaign-associated mass gatherings, has the potential to increase the risk of the local spread. All travelers must now arrive in St. Vincent and the Grenadines with a negative PCR result. In addition, travelers, except those arriving from Barbados, having been there for at least 21 days, must quarantine in an approved hotel for 5 days. Meanwhile, the Health Services Subcommittee has underscored the need for persons entering this country to adhere to the COVID-19 requirements. The subcommittee said in a release that several calls and emails have been received from a number of returning nationals and visitors requesting exemption from quarantine to attend funerals, weddings, family gatherings, or to run errands. The Health Services Subcommittee has made it clear that no exemptions will be granted in terms of the requirement to arrive with a negative PCR result not older than 5 days, where required. Exemptions will also not be granted regarding the 5-day mandatory quarantine in a hotel approved by the Tourism Authority and the Ministry of Health, nor will any exemptions be granted to attend funerals, weddings, and family gatherings, or to run errands. It said the typical quarantine period of 14 days will be enforced, and any breaches of the quarantine orders as issued will be referred to for prosecution, as unauthorized deviation from these protocols puts all Vincentians at risk. The New Democratic Party today released the 7-page 2018 Poverty Assessment Report for the country, which it had been calling on the ULP administration to make public. The report, released at a news conference, contains a summary whose findings state that there are 12,421 people who make up the indigent population, with 36.1% of the population being poor and 11.3% being indigent. West Kingstown NDP candidate Daniel Cummings, who spoke on the issue, said that the statistics were done prior to COVID-19, which he said is worrying.
I told you already that the indigence line was in 2018 is 3,142. The poverty line 6,547. In monthly terms, the indigent line, and you need to understand this, the line below which people are critically poor, $262 a month. An increase of $58 over the last year. In other words, people who receive less than $262 a month are considered critically poor. Government, by paying people on the YES program $450 a month, have those people below the poverty line. In other words, all of the people employed by the government getting $450 a month are being paid less than the poverty line. No wonder Dr. Friday has proposed that we are going to increase that by at least $200.
The summary also reveals that the majority of the poor and indigent reside in rural communities, but there is also evidence of these conditions in urban areas. Barrowley, Chateaubelair, Sandy Bay and Georgetown are among the communities greatly affected. The report states that women comprise the larger share of the poor population and that children are more at risk of being in poverty.
And what that says is that if there are any what are referred to as exogenous shocks, a la COVID, a la dengue, etc., or the worldwide economic decline. Because you know COVID has brought with it dramatic changes in our economic standard. What it says is that half of the population is now suspect and could fall into poverty. I tend to use the old-fashioned terms, rushing to do a 10-day road work to put food on the table, and you still cannot provide employment for all of these people. Everybody else knows what the situation is, but the government chooses to bury it under the carpet.
The findings of the report show that the working poor are mainly engaged in industries such as agriculture, forestry, fishing, and engaged as farmers and farm laborers. In this category of the working poor are people in construction, wholesale and retail trade, cashiers, education, cleaners, and janitors. Inequality stood at 48.5%, and the levels of inequality are higher in urban areas. NDP leader Dr. Godwin Friday said this is evident when they speak with people on the ground.
Increase in poverty is also accompanied by an increase in inequality. The document this suggests that the gains in GDP may have been distributed unequally. And on that same page, it says that the last decade, the GDP rate of growth, this is from their report, that they commissioned. Perhaps because the inequality explains the fact that some people have done better. And you hear says on the platform that people think they make a joke when they say that those who have are getting more and those who have not are getting less. And this is not something I make up. This is what people tell me everywhere we go around the country. So here in their own report it says that there's greater inequality in the country, that the poor have done worse under this government than between the periods of 1998 and 2008. So let them bring the evidence to the people, complete the report. Use the people money to sponsor properly and get it published so that everybody can have a look at it and we can know where we are.
The Poverty Assessment Report is done every 10 years. The last report was published in 2008. The survey was carried out by local personnel and funded by the Caribbean Development Bank and the OECS Authority. The Unity Labour Party launched its Youth Manifesto last night at Rabaca. Among the authors of the manifesto are some of the young candidates of the ULP, including Saboto Caesar, Orande Brewster, Carlos James, and Luke Brown, who outlined their vision for the youths of the country. The plans include deepening the education revolution, boosting the Prime Initiative, investing in entrepreneurship, building affordable houses, and sport development. Speaking at the youth rally, ULP candidate for North Leeward, Carlos James, highlighted and explained some of the main plans in the manifesto, including a new initiative in the Rural Economic Agriculture Program, REAP.
Importantly, I want to focus on a program and an initiative called REAP, Rural Economic and Agriculture Program. REAP, as the name describes, is going to provide the support for entrepreneurs in a competitive global economy by providing training and support through the expansion of business incubation hubs across St. Vincent. It is quite similar to Prime, but this is going to give you the stronger support you need as entrepreneurs and young farmers and businessmen so that you can push forward, get the investment that you need and the support to move your businesses forward.
And candidate for West Kingstown, Deborah Charles, spoke on plans in the education sector, noting that during the next 2 terms, the government will review and reform both the secondary and primary schools curriculum to ensure that students are better equipped in a modern economy.
We are going to expand the technical and vocational division of the community college and provide greater skill training and certification to our youths. We would increase the number of YES and SET program interns and enhance their remunerations. We'd continue to improve the physical conditions, the comfort, and the equipment in all of our schools. We would install and equip science and technology labs at all secondary schools. And those of you in West Kingstown, those of you who live in the Edinburgh area, you would realize that we are building there a state-of-the-art laboratory for the students of the J.P. Eustace Secondary School. Only a Labour government can do that.
Randy Brewster, the ULP Central Leeward candidate, said that the party's youth manifesto is geared towards the advancement of the youth of SVG with plans for social and economic development.
Every area of our economy and our social development, from sports and culture to healthcare to tourism and much more. But there is a party, if we are not careful, they are about to put a stop sign on this nation called St. Vincent and the Grenadines. While the Unity Labour Party has been offering strong plans and policies for the youth, the NDP has been on a campaign to stop the progression and the advancement and the empowerment of the youth of this nation.